super stoked about today's episode. And what I love about Vennessa, who you're going to hear in this episode, she does multiple things. She does top line resumes, she does elite level business coaching for entrepreneurs, but she's a mom, she's a wife, she's a multipreneur, and you are going to learn so much from her in this episode. I cannot wait for you to hear it. So I hope you enjoy. Welcome to the Network Marketing Made Simple podcast. I am your host, Scott Aaron, and each and every week I'm going to come to you with short, simple, and powerful tactics of how you can grow your network marketing business, brand, bank account, and impact on those around you. And just remember, network marketing is not easy, but it can be made easy with simple steps to create the success that you truly deserve. Welcome to episode 154 of the Network Marketing Made Simple podcast. And if you are a new listener, then welcome. And if you are a returning listener, then welcome back. And as always, if you are a business coach, entrepreneur, network marketer, new or seasoned to your profession, and you are still building your business through the primary means of Facebook and Instagram, and you are not yet leveraging and harnessing the power and potential that LinkedIn can have on your business, bank account, and impact, then head over to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can fill out a form to schedule a free 15-minute discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we could potentially work together. So, super excited about today's episode for a number of reasons. One, I love when I connect with people on social media and then we form a friendship and then they end up coming on my podcast because they have such value in what they're doing that it's a necessity to have them on this podcast to bring those skills and those tips and those tools and those takeaways to all of you that are listening today. And what I love about this person is that she truly lives by no excuses. And I posted this a few months back towards the end of 2019, just about excuses are a choice. And this amazing human being is a mother of 3 kids that are all under the age of 4. And for those of you that are parents like myself, even if you're not a parent, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 kids, the fact that they're all under the age of 4, if you've never had children or if you had kids, you know how crazy of a age the ages of 1 to under 4 is. So you can imagine how organized this human being is. But she's also a career and business coach, and she works with a lot of people on that senior level or that high entrepreneurial level, helping people to get out of that burnout phase. Because again, a lot of people that are in network marketing, if they're in running their own businesses, they end up working in their business instead of working on their business. So again, I don't want to take any more of your and this person's time. I want them to share their story because it will help you guys move forward. So Vennessa, McConkey, welcome to today's episode.
Well, thank you for having me, Scott. I appreciate it. That was a fabulous introduction. Thanks.
So when you know what someone does, it's easy to share how they help people. So obviously you're doing career and business coaching now, but it always wasn't that way. So how did you get your start in the business world, and what was that moment, or what shifted for you where you realized that you had something else inside of you that you needed to start helping other people with?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I have a background in engineering and operations management. So for years I was doing in roles such as, an engineer, a production supervisor, operations director, plant manager, and went all the way into consulting for large organizations everywhere from Pennsylvania to Chicago to Arizona, and then all of their divisions across the world. And so it came to a point where talking about, burnout, I actually, when I was consulting out here in Arizona, I was traveling 3 weeks out of every month to go travel to the other organizations or other divisions within the organization to help standardize their processes, get them under control, but I wasn't getting myself under control. So I had taken a sabbatical, or thought I was taking a sabbatical, and my husband and I, we got pregnant with our first child, and my entire family, they're all business owners or entrepreneurs. My sister's the only one at this point in time, and she has had her own businesses that has a W-2 job, but everyone else, all the way up through great-grandparents, have had their own businesses. So it's in my blood. It's not something that we all take. We don't take, I guess you could say, direction from authority well. So you'll hear my little one in the background here, but we started, I started to think, what do people come to me for? And I always ask my clients this too, whether they're business owners or they're running corporations. You know, what do people come to you for? What is your zone of genius? Things that you're gifted with, that you're good at, and whatnot. And so I took a look at that and said, what do people come to me for? Well, first, they're like, people would come to me for where do I fit in a company? What, help me with my resume, get me a job, things like that, which was, it seemed odd at the time. I'm like, well, that's weird, but I did do a lot of hiring. I did do a lot of firing, unfortunately. So I got started in, no joke, writing resumes on Fiverr when Fiverr first came out. And found that I was actually good at, and people were getting jobs from it. And so I was like, well, okay, instead of charging, you know, $100 a resume, that's nothing. I need to start doing my own thing. And so I started doing that business, started an LLC with that, got going. And more people were coming to me for coaching, for interview advice. And so the last couple of years have been focused on really just being that servant leader and serving others in terms of, again, figuring out what their zone of genius is, getting them into that right role, then figuring out, okay, you're in that right role. Now, how can we take and delegate tasks and minimize that burnout so you're not doing what everyone else in society is doing, right? Run until you crash. Because that's not healthy and that's not good for your organization. It's not good for your business, for your family, and definitely not a good example to set for your kids.
Has there been a common theme now that you've kind of moved over to the coaching side? Has there been a reoccurring theme of people that you've worked with in the beginning phases, you know, getting them out of burnout, that it kind of keeps coming up, and then obviously where you take them to, and what is that certain theme that you've noticed?
One thing that I really have noticed is when they're in that burnout phase, they're exhausted. They think they have routines. They think they have their health under control. You know, just going to the gym once or twice a week and kind of doing whatever isn't really a routine. I always encourage people to do things, you know, if you can't get to a gym, do a workout program at home. Make sure you're eating right. Make sure you got, you know, everything that all sets. And then once they got those routines physically set, then we're like, okay, now let's get the mental end of it. Let's do, you know, I'm big on journaling. Do a gratitude journal. Start writing out your problems, your challenges that you're experiencing in your personal life and your business life. Get that quiet time, that quiet space, because you end up being more productive, more successful, and just you reduce that burnout from writing those things out and just getting your mind right, if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense. You know, mindset is everything. So what's the big mindset shift that you personally went through? Because obviously, you know, entrepreneurship looks different for each person, and
Right.
we all go through, you know, different barriers and different hurdles that we have to overcome. What would you say when you moved into the entrepreneurial space and coaching and even starting with writing the resumes? What was the biggest obstacle that you had to personally overcome?
I had to overcome the whole money mindset. And this is big in entrepreneurship, of like, don't follow the money or focus on the money, because that will come when you know who you are and what you can do for someone else. The money will come. It's not a big deal. And so that was really difficult for me at first, because at that time in our personal life, we were struggling a little bit. So it was hard. I was the breadwinner. When I was in corporates, you know, stepping back, having a few kids and being at home, and then having my husband, you know, take over that role and responsibility at that point in time, was a challenge for us. So saying, okay, be a servant, continue to serve just as you did in corporate. You can do it in your own business too, because we all have those gifts and talents. Then it's okay. Sweetie, hold on a second. Sorry. Here, go do that one, Ethan. We'll take care of it. Having that, you know, serving other people is going to bring so much more to you as a person, is going to bring so much more to them. For example, here I had a client this past week, and starting in April, we just did her resume. She was like, hey, Vennessa, I just want my resume done. I'm in an okay situation and as a director of compliance, and I might want to get out. Okay, fine. Move it up to a couple of months ago, back in September. She's like, okay, I think I need to get out. All right, let's work on some skills here. Let's start coaching you through where's your zone of genius, all those different types of things. And again, it was the same thing, just serving her. And yes, I should have been charging her, absolutely. But I received a text message from her this week saying, and I'm going to pull it up and read it here because it is pretty, you know, pretty important to what I do and whatnot. Hey, Vennessa, if you don't mind, I would absolutely love to talk next steps with you about your coaching this week. You are such an integral part of my job search, and I know in my heart that you will continue to be a major part in my career advancement. You not only have a client for life, but you also have a friend now. And so from me focusing on just serving her, well, guess what? Now I probably have a coaching client for quite a long time now. So it's moving into that entrepreneurship level. And I've told other people that I've had clients that are entrepreneurs, focus on what you do well and how you can serve others, and take that and make sure that they can multiply it too.
It's so important. And I think it's something, you know, you brought something up for me. A few months back, I had a client message me, and I'll read it to you because I have it pulled up. It said, Scott, I just wanted to share with you my gratitude for you. My wife and I are experiencing success with LinkedIn and what you taught us. It's always proved to be a superior method of connecting over other platforms. It's exposing us to more opportunities to connect with others first, and then allow us to close if the opportunity fits with them. Eternally grateful to have met you, and we always appreciate all your amazing contributions to your business. I am personally pushing through my own insecurities and BS stories more than ever now. Thank you so much for simply being your true, authentic self. And getting a message like that, you can't put a value on a message like that when you help a client that becomes a friend, and you're assisting them in pushing through that pain and the discomfort and the unknown that entrepreneurship is. And you know, the reason why a lot of people don't succeed in entrepreneurship, and I want to hear your opinion on this. My opinion is the most common reason why people don't succeed is, well, number one, they give up, but more so, it's the lack of belief in themselves. You have to have such unwavering, bulletproof belief in you and what you're doing, no matter what, because you're going to get arrows fired at you. You're going to have people saying what you're doing is bullshit and it's not going to work. And, you know, you're charging too much and there's not. And I was listening again for, I don't even know how many times now, Maria Forleo's Everything is Figure Outable Audible book with my fiance. And she basically said, everyone has opinions. And it was really funny. She goes, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. And it's so true. But other people's opinions, that's their opinion. That doesn't have to become who you are and what your business is about. So what do you find? Obviously, you've worked with a lot of successful people, but in entrepreneurship, what do you think is the biggest reason why people end up not succeeding?
I'm going to agree with you. It's that belief in themselves. It's also not putting enough value financially on what they can do. And I'll say that from experience. When I first started off, I'm sure you were there too at one point. You're not going to start off saying, hey, 10 grand, right, for, coaching or whatever you're going to do. You're like, okay, just like I said earlier, $100 for a resume. Okay. And I'll discount it. Please don't discount your services. You're doing a dissatisfaction. You're giving the clients what they think they want, and great, but they're not valuing your experience, your opinions, all of your levels of expertise, your skills, and they're discounting you, they're discounting themselves. So you have to say, obviously don't start off, yes, like right away, here's 10 grand or 50 or whatever. No one's going to take that right away. But when you start to build up, you're like, no, I am worth, $300 an hour for coaching. And this is why. And believe in that, and talk to, your significant others, your family members, and say, hey, what would you charge? What would you pay for me, providing you with a fitness routine service or a graphic design or whatever it may be? They're going to give you their honest feedback because they know you. And then you can use that not only to boost yourself up, but then to promote yourself and market yourself to other people, potential clients out there, and say, hey, guess what? I am an awesome graphic designer. Here, look at my work. Look what people say. And it is okay to use your significant others, your friends, your family members as testimonials at first. Absolutely. Don't lie, please don't lie. But when you request their feedback, that feedback is a testimonial, and use that to boost up your services to promote yourself.
It's one of those things where it's not on anybody else but you. And I
Exactly.
think people are so quickly to put it on other people and blame everyone else. But again, if it's your business, no one is going to care more about it than you.
Yep.
And you really have to go all in.
And
So,
people will see that too. If you don't care, they'll be like, okay, well, they're discounting their services. They really don't care. Well, whatever, I guess I could get some more freebies out them,
yeah,
stand firm.
so important you just said that, because my fiance was getting so mad at me because she sees how hard I work,
Hmm.
and she's like, stop discounting your stuff.
Yeah.
You're worth it. Your stuff is valuable. Stop. And so I made an agreement with her and with myself that I'm not going to discount. I know my value. And when you know your value and when you know your worth, oh, you can't be stopped. And I think it's the whole confidence and posture of being an entrepreneur. So
And
with that,
comparing with the social media and whatnot that's out there, we get into this, oh, look at they're an author, they're a speaker, they're a coach, they're a fitness expert. Oh, look what they're doing. But what happens with all that comparison is we don't see the backstory, right? We have no idea what that backstory is. And then we compare ourselves to that and like, oh, so and so, they're charging this amount of money, or look at how pretty they look, or look at, and that's a bad place to be in. If you're going to want to get started, one of my biggest pieces of advice is get yourself off of social media for a week or two. Get basically get your shit together, figure out who you are and what you're going to be doing and what you're going to be charging. And then you can go back on and be like, here, look at who I am, people.
so let's talk about comparison. So,
Hmm.
social media, it does a lot of good, but it does a lot of evil. So
Hmm.
talk about your own personal experience with how you have found social media is healthy and good for you, but how you're also seeing it be very negative, but also, like you said, it's sending people down that comparison hole. So what's your opinion on all that?
Yeah, just give me 1 second. All right, with those toddlers. Anyways, can you go ahead and repeat what you said? I'm sorry.
So, with everything that's going on in social media, obviously there's good and there's bad with it. And
Mhm.
obviously people can go down that rabbit hole of comparison.
Yep.
How have you found social media beneficial for you, and how do you see it playing a negative effect on everybody else?
Well, I'm actually going to plug you here because the whole LinkedIn has always been my platform of choice, not just because of the senior level executives, but because of the professionalism. People are on LinkedIn to promote businesses, promote themselves, their talents, their skills. And so I have found that there people on there aren't going to really jerk you around. They're not going to, they don't really compare themselves too much to other people. So I've had really good success with entrepreneurs and business owners, people being respectful, things like that. Now, on the other end, my challenge is entering the space of Instagram and Facebook, and I won't even go into the other ones that are possibly out there, but those are more, Instagram will say is more of a challenge. You're getting ads, it's the visuals of people, it's um, all the different media. It's great. IGTV, if you're going to promote yourself, use videos as much as you possibly can. I have seen in the last 4 or 5 months, significant engagements on videos that I've been posting. I was just looking at one this morning from an executive on LinkedIn. Actually, I'd pulled one from IGTV and put it onto LinkedIn, which is another key there. Don't recreate, just use it. Use the same videos throughout all the platforms. Um, but he was an executive that connected with me, and I had talked about networking and the power of it. And he's like, this is what I tell all of my people all the time. Network. He's like, I even tell people to go out there and interview my employees to interview. So it's building those relationships. And he had asked me, can I have some time to talk to you? I'm really curious as to what you do and how you can possibly help me and my organization. Great. I never promoted myself on those videos. I was just talking about what I know and what I've experienced. And that's what's key too on social media. Don't try to be like everyone else. Just share your experience. The same thing on Facebook. Just reach out in those different groups and don't be on there, posting crazy videos. Yes, I put things on there of my kids and stuff to share, but that's to show that I'm a human and I'm real and my family is real too. Show the reality of what's going on. Share the struggles of your business. People want that relationship, that connection. They want to understand that they're not alone in the journey of entrepreneurship and leading organizations and just even being a W-2 employee.
So let's talk about that. Because a lot of people, there's a big difference between being an employee and being a business owner. And I think one of the hardest thing for network marketers, Vennessa, is for people to cross that bridge, being employed for so long, being working for someone else for so long, that having that employee mindset turn off and have the entrepreneurial mindset turn on. So talk about, number one, why is it so difficult for people to turn off the employee mindset and turn on the entrepreneurial mindset? But number two, what is an easy task or something they can do to help them cross the bridge faster, stepping into that entrepreneurial mindset?
Yeah, no, that's a great set of questions there. So when you're crossing over, okay, let me back up. So when you're at a job in a W-2 position, you wake up at the same time every day, you get dressed, you take a shower, right? You have your morning routine. You get up and rolling. You have to be in the office at a certain time. You have meetings at a certain time that's in your calendar. You know when your lunch is, you know when your breaks are, all those different things. You come home at a certain time, you do a routine, you go to bed. You've got to have that as an entrepreneur too. You have to say, hey, I am going to reach out to 50 people and I'm going to do it between this time and this time. And you put it in your calendar. It is a meeting. you're going to pick up the phone and you're going to talk to someone at this time. You put it in your calendar, they have it in their calendar. It's a meeting. And you do that while you're still a W-2 employee, take those lunch breaks. And, I used to, when I was a part of a network marketing team years and years ago. It just wasn't the right one for me, but I would sit on my lunch breaks and I would take my car and move away, because being in management, people follow you. So you had to get out of the parking lot. So I went to another parking lot, but I would sit on my phone and I had my specific notebook and I knew who I was going to call, who I was going to reach out to. I had my script there and I made those calls and I knew I had to be back by a certain time. And I did that every single day. And you've got to be consistent. You can't expect, just like when you're trying to lose weight or gain muscle, whatever your fitness needs are, hey, I'm going to do it for 2 days and a miracle is going to happen. No, you've got to be consistent. Do it on such a regular basis every single day. And it can be frustrating and annoying, but you'll start to see the benefits of your consistency, right? When you're working out, when you're calling those people for network marketing, when you're advertising for your business, when you're helping your employees and things like that. So there's so many different, that's why I work with my clients on routines and processes and procedures, because right, we have those for a reason, because they work.
So you said something interesting about consistency. So the one big problem that I see a lot of network marketers having is being consistent, being overwhelmed, being just full of anxiety. Talk about in any business. I don't care if you work for someone else or you own the business, you have you own your own small business, you're a network marketer. How important is it to be consistent each and every day in everything that you do?
So here's a great example. So I was sick last week. Yes, I was still able to do some things for my business, but for example, I was not able to get on LinkedIn and do all of the things that you teach each and every day. And as a result of me not being consistent last week, guess what? I didn't have as many people reach out to me because I didn't send out as many messages. I didn't have as many discovery calls with people because I wasn't sending out messages and people weren't responding them to get discovery calls. So that right there, right? You've got it. But as it picked up again this week and I'm feeling better, guess what? More and more things are getting booked into my calendar. So it's not only being consistent, it's recording what you're doing so you can see when you're not consistent, what happens in your business.
So what are some things that, because you work with all different types of people, you've worked and still work with network marketers, small business owners, people that are still in corporate. What are some of the basics that you teach with what you do, being a career and business coach, that really set you apart from other coaches? Because everyone has their own niche and specialty, but what is something that you learned in your journey that you are now able to bring into your coaching that has really assisted your clients?
And it's not necessarily something that I've learned. It's something that I've always had in me. And I was told was more of a negative thing growing up. So I have a very strong personality. We'll just put it that way. My husband says controlling, but we'll say strong. And when I was growing up, it was called bossy. And you've got to use those things to make them positive, right? We're all told things when we're growing up and we take them to heart and they carry on into our adulthood and they are so negative and they have such an impact on us and we don't know what to do with them. So when I'm talking with clients, and this is something that happened with me and I was so grateful for having a mentor and coach and multiple of them over the years, is I had one of my mentors said, "You're not bossy, Vennessa, you are a strong leader. You need to learn how to speak appropriately to people because not everyone is going to have the same personality type as you and understand things." So I take with clients and say, okay, what is your superpower? Mine is that bossy, which is a leadership traits that you need when guiding people in organizations and guiding people through their businesses and saying, okay, I may be bossy, but having that strong skill set has led me into being organized, right? It's led me into having very consistent routines and schedules, realizing that when I don't have those, what happens to my life, to my health, to my relationships, to my business. Because as a parent, you know, Scott, right? It's if you wake up and you're crabby and you don't want to follow a routine for the day, what happens to your kids? They're like, what's going on? I don't know about you, but one of my kids is a very routine oriented child. And he's like, Mom, we're supposed to brush our teeth now. Oh, okay, I guess we'll go brush our teeth. Right. But you have to be, it's again, that consistency, that discipline, that whatnot. And I just push that in my clients, whether they like it or not. I had a client this summer come back to me. I actually was very abrupt with him. And I said, Troy, I said, you really need to get your crap together. You are all over the place. We've talked about routines and schedules. You are an executive at a healthcare organization. If you don't get it together, you're going to get fired. And he's like, okay, I'll take that to heart and we'll talk later. No joke. I didn't hear from him for 3 months. I got a phone call and he's like, you know what? You were really harsh with me. And I said, yeah, I was, because I believe in what you can do. And he goes, absolutely. He goes, I went and told my wife about that conversation and she laughed at me. and and he's like, we started laughing together because we knew it was true and we knew what you said was absolutely what I needed. So I took a couple weeks off work and I got my stuff together. And now I am fully ready to take on the remaining of our coaching sessions so I can improve my organization. I can help my employees because now my mind is set in what I'm supposed to be doing. So I used my, negative bossy, took it into a positive, being a leader, being firm with someone, and they ended up being successful out of it.
It's there are so many lessons that you learn in life that you take something that's bad and turn it into good. There's something that's very painful and it turns out to be something beautiful, because that's the one thing that I've learned, is that you have to be so present with what you're doing and how you're going about things, that everything happens for you, to you, and for a purpose. There's nothing happening for us by accident. There's always a reason behind everything that we're doing in our lives. So let me ask you this. What is the one obstacle or hurdle that you see most network marketers and entrepreneurs dealing with right now, that they're just finding it so challenging to overcome, that if they did just this one simple thing, they would be able to overcome it?
Have a schedule and routine. Stop trying to overwhelm yourself with all of the little tasks, because you won't get them all done unless you have a routine and them scheduled in your calendar.
Organizational skills is everything. It's something that I teach in my Network Marketing Academy, because the way that you do one thing is the way that you do everything. If you're disorganized in your life, you're going to be disorganized in your business, and so on and so on. So what is a very simple way that you keep yourself organized and not overwhelmed for your business that you can then teach others?
So I am still super old school, and I have a paper calendar. I use the full focus calendar. Now, being a very organized person, I've used probably hundreds now of different planners and calendars. But every morning I look at that calendar and I know that from the night before, I wrote down what the top 3 things I absolutely have to get done, my priorities, whether it's in my business, in my personal life, health-wise, those top 3 things have got to get done. So that's my biggest thing, is make sure that you have a calendar, whether we still have our Google Calendar that we have and meetings pop up and things like that, but those are still written down in my calendar so I can see them. I believe that visual is a huge huge, huge thing. We have visual calendars at home here where the kids can see they each have their own color on the calendar that they know certain activities are happening. You know, we get fights over who's going to turn the Christmas lights on, so they know what colors that and what day. So it's having that calendar set, knowing what's going to happen, because if you think about it, if we don't know what's coming, how do we know what's coming, right? So if you have it visually set there in a calendar, you know what's coming. And then because it's visual too, you have other people that can help hold you accountable. My husband and I, we both have the full focus planners for him for his W-2 job and for me for the business. And we can sit and we can go over it together because it's visual. It's something there. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah, let's talk about that at this time. No, it's in the calendar. And I always tell him too, if it's not in the calendar, we're not doing it. So.
No, that's so beyond important. So let me ask you this.
Mhm.
What is I mean, obviously we're now into the first quarter of 2020, and, you know,
Yep.
people are now kind of coming off that downswing. You know, everyone's really pumped up and fired up for January and February. And then, you know, obviously March and April roll around and they're starting to creep into maybe some habits that they weren't serving them in the past. How do you keep yourself motivated and inspired all year long to keep moving forward no matter what gets thrown at you?
Yeah, that's always a big one, right? We have that big January push. I always laughed when I was going to the gyms and it was like by mid-February, everyone's gone. It's ghost town. But what I do to keep myself motivated, and I'm human, so there are times throughout the year where, for me, it's August. That's my time where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just drained and whatever. But it's having accountability partners. It's, you know, not telling everyone what your business goals are and whatnot, but having that close friend, whether they're in the same business as you, the same, you know, network marketing team or not, or, you know, same company, but it's having someone that's got a, you know, different personality than you typically, that says, hey, what are your goals this month? Hey, how are you feeling today? You know, hey, did you get that done? You said you were gonna, you know, have a, you said you were gonna have a client call today. You know, what did you get accomplished? So it's having those little things, going to conferences, going to events. I'm always big about during your downtime too. During your downtime is having something planned and scheduled. Again, the big planning and scheduling of something to look forward to. If you've got a vacation planned, what are you going to be doing the couple weeks before? You're going to be getting excited and ready to go and whatnot. So if you're in network marketing, you know, buy your tickets to whatever event is going to be planned, or set of events that are planned throughout the year. Get that done ahead of time, because otherwise you won't do it, first of all. Second of all, you have something then to look forward to. You have other people there to support you. And the same thing goes in the corporate world too. There's different events that are going on. There's meetup groups, you know, get all that stuff again in your calendar so that you are ready, you're excited, and have people there to hold you accountable.
I love that. So as we wind down, obviously there's a lot of things that you do. How can people learn more about you on social media, or is there a direct way where they can find out about your services? And if you may be a good fit for them with what they're struggling with, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, so the biggest one again is on LinkedIn, you know, Vennessa McConkey, and you know, you have the link in the show notes there. And then on Instagram, again, Vennessa McConkey Coaching. And then toplineresumes.com. That's a combination of my resume services and the coaching services.
Beautiful. And final question, there is no wrong answer. It's really what this truly means to you. So Vennessa, what does success truly mean to you?
Success to me is about being satisfied with the gifts that have been given to you.
I love that. You know, being satisfied with with who you are and what you stand for and what you're doing is everything. And the only person that you need permission from for all of those things is yourself. So Vennessa, I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time. And it's so funny, as a busy parent like yourself, I totally appreciate you carving the time out to come onto the show today and share your gifts while taking a short break from being a mother while you were multitasking during this. But
you can't see I got one on my hip right now.
But I just totally honor and appreciate your hustle and just the way that you present yourself every day on social media. I know it's the same way that you present yourself in everyday life, just looking to empower and impact people in a positive way. So just thank you so much for taking your time, your energy, and sharing your love and your knowledge and your skills with my audience today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So guys, check out Vennessa. All her information is going to be in the show notes. Connect with her and you will not be steered in the wrong direction. This woman knows what she's doing and she's helping so many, and you can be one of them too. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please enjoy the rest of your day and I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you again so much for checking out this week's episode. And if you can, head over to iTunes, search for Network Marketing Made Simple, leave me a 5-star rating, basic review. I would be grateful for all of the support you guys can give me. And again, if you'd be interested in learning more how to utilize LinkedIn to grow your business, your brand, and your bank account, head over to my website, www.scottaaron.net. Fill out the form for your free 15-minute discovery call so I can learn more about you, your business, and how we can work together. And again, thank you guys so much. Grateful for you all, and I'll see you next time.